All right, we're live.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Successful Women Spill the Tea. I am Alexis, and I'm here with my co-coach Maureen, and we have a great show for you today. And I just wanted to take a second and talk a little bit about sort of why we do this, especially this expert series that we have started. And it's one of our goals is to connect women with other women so that we can learn from each other, grow as individuals, and be able to support each other in our journey. And this specific expert series that we have started already just a few episodes in has proved to be super valuable, and we've gotten some really great feedback. And women, we love to share our stories, a lot of us, and that is sort of the purpose of this, is to share our successes, to share our challenges, to be able to help teach and pass on some of the things that we have learned through our journey so far to help other women, as well as to support each other and really create that community. So we're so glad that you're here with us today. And we have an incredible guest. Maureen, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest today?
Yes, thank you, Alexis. So we have May Lee joining us today, and this is quite a bit of stuff, so I'm going to kind of read to make sure I don't miss anything. So May Lee, you're a former scientist, right? And you've transitioned from laboratory research to sales, marketing, and scientific recruiting. So that's really interesting. She's also has a PhD in molecular biology and has raised 2 sons and is a single parent. And at this stage of her life, she feels as if she can do more, and she wants to give more to other women that are out there. So she's done some reflection and found what has really profoundly influenced her life, and she's sharing that with us today. Her quest is to empower women with her own process of discovery. She speaks to the importance of helping women realize the power of their thoughts. She believes that it's even possible. She supports them from step by step to build their realization and be more comfortable financially and pursue the life of their dreams with confidence, purpose, and joy. So we're so excited to have you here today, May.
Thank you so much, Maureen and Alexis. I'm so excited to be here. And I've seen your other programs, and they're just fantastic. I'm totally on board with what you're doing.
Excited. Wow, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. We're so excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about, your journey. You told us a little bit. Give us a little bit more details. And what is it that women come to you? What are they struggling with that you help them with?
Yeah, so I'm excited because I'm going to be creating a program, and it's specifically designed for women of all ages and backgrounds. And I want them to build a life that's beyond their wildest dreams. And I'm calling it the millionaire mindset for women. Yeah. And so I'm going to be sharing that a bit about that with you, and also the story behind how I got to this point. But first of all, the program itself, although it sounds like it's all about wealth and money, it's really, we're approaching it from a 360 perspective. We want women to be able to envision themselves with a robust millionaire status while still maintaining a rewarding and fulfilling lifestyle in every area of her life. So my premise is a woman can truly have it all. And our program has like 3 components. We start off with our childhood influences, and then we work on mindset, and then we work on the millionaire mindset. So, childhood influences. So, as you probably all know, a lot of what happened in our childhood has shaped our attitudes and beliefs around money. And it has become so ingrained in us that we abide by them habitually and subconsciously and automatically. And so most impactful will probably be our parents or the generation, our grandparents. So in part of our program, we ask you to take a look at what are your beliefs around money and what was bestowed upon you growing up. And how did you carry these values into your adult life? So like in my case, I grew up in a small 3-bedroom home in the suburb of Pittsburgh. My father was a chemical engineer, and my mother stayed at home with 3 kids. We never talked much about money, but my mother was very frugal, I know that. And we were taught that money does not grow on trees and it should not be wasted, and you should be spending very, very carefully. So my parents believed also that the highest level of education at the best universities would lead to a great career and a good life. So it was never about money. Money was not that important. Education was stressed. The money would follow. And they truly believed that, and that was what I was led to believe. So those were the values that kind of took me through my life. And then, so in my program, I'll discover, we help women discover what are these influences. And when we become aware of them, we get clarity. And with clarity, we know that we have choices. And then we can decide whether we want to keep those values from childhood or we want to replace them with something that's more empowering. And there's a process that's a little bit of back and forth adjustment, and it's not a long time, but eventually through discovery, conscious awareness, choice, we get to, a place where our mindset is working for us in a positive way and taking us where we want to go.
I love what you've said about, the mindset around it, because some of the things that we also, principles that we teach is having clarity. So really being clear on what it is that you want to, how you want to perceive your financial well-being, right? Are you feeling as if that and what I'm hearing is that it could be that it's coming from a past mindset, or it's passed down from us, where we feel like there's scarcity. Like if I don't save, I'm going to run out. Or if I spend too much, especially with all the uncertainty that's going on, like I may lose my job, so I need to save my money. So all those things are part of coming from, I think, fear, right? So if we're looking like, I know even for myself, what I do is like, the universe or God always provides. So at whatever time is what it is that I need. So it's like changing that mindset and just being clear. Is that what you teach your clients?
Absolutely. We go into, the mindset is really important, right? So there's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Mm-hmm. And we kind of go into what each one characteristics are for each one. And then we decide which one we'd like to spend our time, where we want to spend our time. So, so I just, from my own story, like in the year 2005, I'm a divorced single mom with 2 kids, and we're living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm working 3 jobs. So I take one of my kids with me after school and to my 3rd job, and my other kid rides his bike 5 miles each way alone to and from school. And then one day my boss comes in, he starts throwing everything into the trash, and he says, "Pack up, I'm closing my business." So that night I looked at my bills and my bank account, and I just break down and cry. We were already struggling month to month. How was I going to make it on even less? And the funny thing is I had followed my parents' advice, right? And their recipe for success is get a PhD in science and then degrees from really well-known universities. And I did all that. But why am I here struggling to pay the rent? With all this education, I should have a fantastic career. And how did I end up as a single mom with 3 part-time jobs, none of which I enjoyed? So that's when I stopped at that point to take a look at what was going on, what was wrong with this picture. And I discovered a few things, and that's what I'm bringing into this program to help other women.
No, that's great. So I can imagine that it also had an effect on some of your energy as well, right? So were there any things that you worked on for yourself, like triggers to make sure that you're coming out of that mindset of like, why am I in this situation? Because when I hear people say why, what Alexis and I hear from that, it's coming from fear, or it's coming from the not knowing. And then the other thing that I've heard people say is it's how. as if they have to learn exactly how they need to do it. So, and what I mean by that is, they're not in that future place of what it is that they want to create for themselves, and so they're trying to fix everything that they have going on. Would you relate to that in your program that you offer?
Yes, totally, totally. So, and when you're in it, you don't know it, right? When you're living by your family values, you're just doing what you're told was the only way to succeed, and it wasn't working. So I had to go and find new ways of thinking and what made me happy. So in my case, like I had 3 jobs, I didn't enjoy any of them, and one of them was actually teaching as a college professor part-time, and I would dread it. Every time I had to go into that classroom, I just hated it. Yeah. That's what they kind of envisioned for me. You know, that's what, if you have your PhD in science, you should be at least be able to teach, right? So I had to stop and ask myself, what is it that May really likes? Is what makes May passionate? What makes her want to get up every morning? And like you said, when I was doing those 3 jobs, I was exhausted because I didn't enjoy anything, and I was full of fear and dread and confusion. So when I finally sat down and started thinking what it was that I could do, and it doesn't matter, I stopped thinking about my parents want. What do people think of me? So when you're in a fixed mindset, you're always putting your focus on other people. What do they want of me? Will I look good? Will I bring honor to my family? You know, it's all externally based. And that didn't work for me. So I went back and started becoming focused on me and what I want. And so
So what started to shift for you when you started focusing on what you wanted?
yeah, so what happened was I started to adopt other types of thinking. I had to go outside and talk to people and get in programs, and I learned that there's something like a growth mindset where you don't view your anything as a failure. You don't have to, the word failure should not even exist. You know, it's just an opportunity for growth. And some of these programs helped me envision a new possibility for your life. And I was like, what? You know, there's actually possibilities. There's actually options.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to just sit here and like be you know, in a puddle every day and just survive and just tolerate. And when that started, you know, those kind of thoughts started to come into my mind. I just opened up, and I thought about, you know, what could I do that I was really good at? And I realized that I'm really good at recruiting and networking. I'm a really people person. I just love communicating, introducing people. And every time I was on a community organization or working for some, you know, local campaign, I always brought people in, and then they always came. So I thought to myself, maybe I'm a good recruiter. And so I tried it. I became a scientific recruiter to combine my science and recruiting, and I had a pretty good niche there. I was pretty unique, and I did very well. So I applied for that job. I got it, and I did very well. I mean, I enjoyed it. And so fast forward to the year 2020 now, my kids are both graduated from college. My older one has a master's. They both have launched their careers. They both have their own cars. And I have a new house with 5 bedrooms and 3-car garage. And that's just telling you, you know, I'm not trying to brag because it's really not that big a deal, but
But what I hear is you're living the life of your dreams.
yeah, it's like you can overcome these challenges if you have the right mindset. And that's where I got to where I am now.
I think you hit on so many great points in there, May, and one of them that really I think comes up for a lot of us in these types of discussions is what we believe the expectation that the expectations that are put on us, say whether it be from parents, even if it's just sort of we kind of dream up these expectations on our own, what we feel society expects from us. And so many people, I think, go through life not making choices, not taking a step back and saying, well, hang on, you know, what do I want to do? What am I passionate about? and they just keep going, right? They just keep going that same routine. And so often I think people just, they can stay in a, whether it's a career, whether whatever it is, a job that they don't love, that they dread every Monday, you know, they just like weekend worshipers are waiting and waiting for Friday. And then Sunday night is like depression hits because they have to go back, but they continue to do this for years, sometimes, you know, their whole entire life. So that, I think, is just having that conversation of saying, well, hang on, the only opinion that really matters is yours. And taking that step back. I mean, that's something that I know for myself, when I was younger, for me, it was just after high school, you went to university, you know, you kept on going until you got the degree that you wanted to get you the career you wanted. And I think things are changing now, but yet we're still sort of stuck in that older mindset. And so I really kind of connected with what you said about, you know, your parents' expectations on education. And don't get me wrong, I'm a college professor myself, so I believe in the value of education, but that path, you know, whether it be an undergrad or a master's or a doctorate or whatever it is, it's not for everybody, and not everybody needs it, right? There's different things you can do. So I think that's such a valuable point to bring up, is just realizing that you don't have to be stuck in that, you know, that hamster wheel for your whole life, that you can make a change whenever you want to.
Yeah, and May, we've had clients that have come to us where they're in that corporate position, or they're running their own practice, and they've been doing all this because that's what they were taught to do. And then they hit a wall and they're like, I'm successful, I've got everything, but now it's not something, this is not where I want to be. And so that's when they start to decline, and they're like, what is all this? So I feel that abundance is also not just about that financial success that you also have. It's also that freedom of how you want to live your life. And it's changing that mindset, that whatever it is, and going deep down into what it is that you want to do in your truth and your self-expression, and then bringing that into, it could be, you know, you continue as, you know, you're as a doctor and you're owning your own practice, because you can bring your own flavor to it. You can bring your own uniqueness, authentic way, and you will actually attract, when you start living in your truth, that's when you start to attract these like-minded people. That's what we were talking about just before going live. Alexis and I were talking about that there's an attraction that we right now have, and a lot of the women are, you know, feeling that fear of what's going to happen, like with all the uncertainty in the world today. So what tips would you give to those ladies right now, how to deal with all the uncertainty that's going on?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, we are living in unprecedented times right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen anything like this in 100 years, you know. But I just think it's the same thing that we do any day. Is like you have to move out of the mentality of fear and move into your own intuitions and your own trust that everything's going to be fine. And then go with your passions, and go with your whatever comes from your heart. I mean, I think the mind is a really incredibly powerful tool, but I think the heart is where you can do the most for the people that you love and the people in this world.
Right. Our mind is very imaginative, right? And it'll create all kinds of scenarios, which I think disconnects us from what's happening in the present. Like we're already like, oh, this is going to happen, or what if that happens? But instead of, when we can, I think we could focus on the present. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah.
Definitely focus on the present. And in my case, it's like right now I'm looking a little into the future, right? What do I want to do for the rest of my life? And I know I want to travel the world, but I also want to leave something behind for the next generation. I want to do something for exit. And I thought about, I don't really know that much about investing, and I'm afraid it's too late to start. So that fear comes in, right? I don't know. So again, if I stay in this fixed mindset, I can continue to live in fear until I grow old and then I die. Or I can challenge my mindset and that's what I decided to do. I created this program. I want to take all the women who are interested on the journey with me. We're going to look at some of them. I mean, a millionaire is considered a big, lofty goal, right? And sometimes very intimidating, and there's a lot of myths around it. It's like, I can't even pay the bills. How am I going to even think about becoming a millionaire? So, and it's not all about money. So my program this is not all about money, but it's really to expand your thinking and what you want to do for this world, and not for yourself, for your family, and for the world. And
I love what you said, that it's not just about money.
Right.
Because our mindset affects all areas of our life, whether it's relationships, where we are today. Our health, so it affects all kinds of things. Like if you have this mindset of it's too late, and you've already you've already set that tone or the precedence, that context, that it's too late for you to move forward in anything, right? And the other thing that you hit on was what are we doing with the time that we have, coming from that fear. What I've also told some of our clients who are in our program is they're investing their time that they are maybe on unemployment or out of a job. They're investing in themselves. So when they come out of this, when maybe the unemployment runs out, or maybe, whatever, that they can come out a better person, stronger person, and be able to handle whatever comes up front, right? And I tell people, it's not doomsday. It's not doomsday unless if you say it's doomsday. What you can, with that growth mindset, you can say, all right, this happened. What are we going to do next?
Yeah,
I think surrounding yourself with people like that, right? That have that positive and forward thinking.
For sure. I think too, you had mentioned, sometimes it's hard to see beyond our current situation. And I think that is so powerful, because that to me is where the abundant mindset starts, is being able to allow yourself to dream big, right? Allow yourself to think of that sort of that very top level, that you're, that Everest, whatever that is for you. But so many people get stuck and say, well, I'm barely paying my bills now. That dream seems so far off. But if you think back to, and any of us, how quickly can life take a turn? And for the better or for the worse, right? So things can change very quickly. And I think but for me, that's where it starts, is can you see beyond your current situation, right? The situation we're all in right now, the people, in my opinion, that are really struggling with the pandemic and the lockdown and everything that's going on in the world, I think a lot of that has to do with not being able to get yourself out of the current context and the current situation. One thing that has helped me through this, I know this isn't going to last forever. So I allow myself and my mind to wander far into the future, when we're back to doing live events, when we're back to going to concerts and vacationing and all of that. I know we're going to get there, right? But if you get stuck in, oh my gosh, this is end of the world, doomsday, as you said, Maureen, doomsday mentality, it's so hard, right, to look past and to move through it, right, to move past it. And that experience that we're in now, I think, is a perfect example. So I know myself, my family, my girlfriends, clients, whoever I talk to, I'm always like, well, in a year from now, what do you want to do? And let your mind go there. I think that's so important.
Absolutely. This is the time more than ever. Whenever you have a crisis is when you can start to reflect and see what you do to improve. And work into a better future for yourself, for the people around you. And this is a great time for entrepreneurs. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said that one of the things that happened for you was you were working those 3 jobs and your one employer was like, pack up, I'm closing my business. And that, I think, was like a turning point for you, right? You had that kind of in your face, you have to do something now. Whereas, and I think that this, for a lot of us, we could be looking at, this is sort of that door closing and another one opening. But But for some people, I think they don't have that, where the business shuts down or they're forced to do something else. And that's where I think we get stuck in that rat race, stuck in the hamster wheel, as I said before, and we never get off because there's not something forcing us off. So we have to be our own advocate for the lifestyle and the life that I think that we want, because not all of us, I personally, I think that was a blessing in disguise. At the time you were probably like, oh my gosh, I'm barely keeping afloat with the 3 jobs, and now one is being taken away. But you were able to look at the situation and say, something's got to change now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. And I think your message is so important at this time, because women and everybody, we feel like we need to depend on others to take care of us. Mm-hmm. We need to depend on the government, the institutions, the companies. And in my case, it was like I always looked outside of myself, for love and approval. And then I never felt like I had permission to speak up and to be powerful in my own right. I kept looking for other people to give me that power and that permission. And I believed I didn't deserve to be rich. I was okay making paycheck to paycheck, and now I have a house. But, what does it take for us to step really outside of that and think really, like you said, far into the future. And I also think that for women, it's just, we're so trained to be just nurturing and caretakers, and we just give everything. The more we take care of everybody else and do what they want, the more value we have. Mm-hmm. But if you're not able to provide, and you don't have your own power and your own, or any money, what can you do for anybody else? Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm here. I think women really, it's our birthright to become millionaires. It's up to us to just reach out and pull it towards us. And there's a lot of resources out there, and as long as you change your thinking and be flexible, be creative, and you should be able to get there.
Yeah, what you said was just perfect. Toy Penny, we had her on last week, and she talked about the Love Yourself More. I think you watched the episode, the live, and mm-hmm. it starts also internally, right? That I am valuable. I am, loving yourself and knowing that the world is not conspiring. The universe is not conspiring against you. Right? The universe is conspiring for you. But you've got to speak out what it is that you want. And mm-hmm. You've said this, Joyce has said this, and we've taught this also in the program. It's like, what is it that you really want? And what are you telling yourself that makes you think that you can't have it?
Right.
Your self-worth. So I love that, what you've told us. I know that you also offer an assessment for the audience that are watching. You said something about that you offer an assessment. Where can we find that, or can they call you? Is it on your website?
Yeah, you can go to my website, which is www.millionairemindsetforwomen.com. Okay. Or you can also, I guess they could reach out to you and you could put them in touch with me.
Yeah. We'll share that link out in the social media, and to our email. If you subscribe to goalsetcoach.com, we'll send out the link there as well, so they can get in touch with you from there. Do you have an email address that they can email you?
Yes. Do you want me to just? I'll give it to you. You can put it up.
You can send it to me, and then we can put it out there. Okay. Yeah, no, exciting. Is there anything else that you want to leave for our audience? Like, what is it that they could take from this episode today, and what you have to share? Is there anything else that you would like to do to empower them?
Well, I'll just mention that we set up a monthly Zoom luncheon series called Empower Women Financially, and we're inviting speakers every month. So everybody's invited to that. And I want to give a shout out to my co-founders, Valerie Stewart and Belva Lowry. We want to connect women with each other and with women that have traveled the journey and have become very successful and can come back and tell us how they did it. And so that's one part of our program amongst many other things, but everyone's invited to join us for that. It's
So
on,
that's open to public? That Zoom is open to public? And where can we find that?
We can find it on Facebook and also Eventbrite. We have an announcement. The next one is July 22nd on Wednesday. We have Karen Foster speaking. She's a TEDx speaker. She's a comedian. She's an entrepreneur.
Nice.
She's going to inspire us. Yeah. In this time, in these days, in this time, we really need some inspiration and some laughter.
Yeah. So please do share the link with us. We will make sure we post it out so we can make sure that, and everyone who's listening can also join in on your program and that Zoom and get some laughs out of it as well.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to join as well. So I'm interested to get that information as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Open to welcome you.
Any last words from you, Alexis?
No, you know what? I just think this is such a great conversation to have, and these are the ones I think we need to have more of. Is to, like I said, really inspire those women that are sort of, just sort of going through the motions. And I think these types of conversations, hopefully they inspire you. Hopefully they spark something in you to make a change. If you're sitting here being like, yeah, you know what, I do hate my job, and I am waiting for Friday every week, to realize that you do have options, right? And we're all here to help support you in that. And all you have to do is reach out. And so I hope that this message kind of landed on whoever really needed to hear it today.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today, May. We've really enjoyed having you. The audience, they've just so you know, they've said great things. They said, thank you so much. Definitely need a laughter. So I think they're interested in your Zoom that you have going on. One said, I'm claiming a growth in millionaire or abundance mindset. So they're, declaring it out there already. They said it's never too late. Some of them, I think, were responding to some of the things that we're talking about. So, we have one user that says, it doesn't tell me who it is, but it says, I'm doing a degree at 52, and I was told I couldn't by my parents. So it's funny how our parents really influence our thinking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there was a question that came up, and I'm sorry I missed it. It was a little earlier. The question that came up was, what are some of the first things May did when she started to experience success? What was the very first thing that she did?
So I went back to what were my talents and my passions. So what made me happy, what made me want to get up every morning. So that's the first. Right. Yeah. And then I paid attention to my, my internal dialogue. So instead of letting external things influence me and trying to please other people, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do that makes me happy. And it may not be the traditional things that my parents thought were respectable. They, like, you don't grow up saying I'm going to become a recruiter, but it worked for me.
Yes.
And then you just follow it and doors will open. And then I just, focused, worked very diligently, kept, improving my skills and learning. And then after a decade, that becomes something that was great for what it was in that chapter of my life, right? So now I'm looking to the next thing, and I'm excited about that too.
Awesome. We're excited for you too. Well, thank you so much, May, for coming on today. And we will send out the links for the audience out there on the Millionaire Mindset for Women. We will send out a link to you. We'll post it on our social media. So if you like our page, you'll get that in your notification. And if you've subscribed to us, which is goalsetcoach.com, you can subscribe to us, and we will also send out in our email all the contact information so you can get with May and join that Zoom that she has going on, which is free for everyone. Thanks so much for what you're putting out there, May. We really enjoyed having you.
Well, thank you both, Marie and Alexis. Thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye now.
Bye, guys. Take care.
All right.